Sure, half an hour goes by pretty fast.
Yeah, no problem. I think we should just start real slow with some of these people and work our way up into some of the bigger issues, and we can touch on a couple different things. Anything you had? Well, actually, we got about 10 seconds left here, so just go ahead and lead up your mic, and I'll bring you on in a second.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Love Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Voluntary Virtues Radio. I'm Mike Shanklin. Today is February 11th, and it's 2011, in case you're listening to this in the future. Anyway, our show today is from 5 to 5:30, and I've got a little treat for you guys. I know it's a short session, only 30 minutes today, but I have a real good treat for you guys. We have a voluntarist, freedom anarchist, whatever you want to call him, a freedom supporter, a self-ownership guy. He's an anarchist, and he's also an artist. So I've gotten the slang when I talk about him, just saying he's the anarchist artist. Anyway, it kind of catches on, and most people think it's cute, especially when they're kind of open to the ideas already. But Victor Pross, he does these amazing caricatures. I always have a problem saying that word, but Victor's been doing this work for his whole life, basically. He's been an artist. It takes talent to certainly do this work, but at least he's applying it towards something that we can, as a movement, use on our side, take it as an advantage. I think it's a great way of educating people who often don't even look towards, talking about political realm or anything to do with voluntarism or anything to do with life really in general. So people at least can see these paintings and take a step back and say, wow, that actually made me think. And hopefully, for our side, I think more than not. But let's go ahead and bring him on. Victor Pross, you with us?
Hi there, how you doing, Mike?
Hey, I'm doing great, Victor. Glad to have you on the show today. This is actually the first time you've been on Voluntary Virtues Radio. You were actually, for those of you guys who actually want a video of Victor, you can actually go to YouTube and check out, just Google Victor Pross. He has a couple of videos on there as well, but he was recently in my Anarchy Rising video, which was a pretty decent success. It just was put out, a few weeks ago, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, and it has something around 10,000 hits, 10,000 views, something to that effect. And it's only growing. So obviously, it was an honor to have Victor in that, along with a bunch of other great voluntarists and anarchists and freedom people. But Victor, how you been doing today? You doing pretty good?
Yeah, no, very good, Mike. I've been anxious to speak with you. I enjoy talking about these issues. I'm definitely I can't really say whether I'm an anarchist or an artist first. I'll just say both equally. I think one spills over into the other, but I've always been very philosophically inclined my whole life, and I think that probably art is something in which I not only want to express a sociological or political side of me, but at the same time too, it's also a vehicle for expressing the more irreverent side of me as well. And even that spills over into the any kind of sociological paintings that I create. They might be considered controversial in some circles, and in other areas, though, they provoke thought. And I think that that's probably is getting back to the roots of caricature art, because caricature does have a not only a sense of humor and irreverence to it, but for the most part, caricatures of years back have always been very sociologically inclined, and they've shot down kings and nobles, and they criticize the status quo, and they're able to do it with a very quick visual barb that the viewer picks up instantaneously.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. That's the exact impression I got when I watched art. If anybody else wants to actually look at his art and not just his face, go to victorpross.com. That's VictorPross.com, VictorPross.com, and you can get a taste of what we're talking about here today. Obviously, Victor, I've had a variety of different people on in the past on the show, such as educators, musicians, in some cases, politicians.
Really?
So I think that's a negative hobby.
Politicians.
That was a while back.
Yeah.
But, I think this is another important thought. I always say there's no central plan to freedom.
Well, that's a very tough question. Probably, I think so far as if we're speaking, just to clarify one issue, a lot of the paintings that I do are not always necessarily didactic. They're not something that, hey, I'm trying to communicate some kind of grand message here in every work that I do. So there are a lot of paintings in which I just simply reflect the culture. If, for example, I just don't caricatures are always considered to be something that always takes jabs at politicians, and sure, that has a long tradition to it, but I just don't want to be couched into one area. So if I do a painting of, say, Jack Nicholson, well, I'm not berating him, and I'm not trying to make communicate some grand philosophical message in it. It's just I'm just reflecting the culture and what is, and his arched eyebrow and the sharp grin is something that's iconic, and that's all a part of pop culture. However, when it does come to sociological or political paintings, sure, I go all out. So as for the ones that stands out, and one of the favorite ones that I've done would be a portrait of a family, and that's called Scar Tissue. Would you like me to describe the painting?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, basically, in the painting, you see some rather insolent, broken children. One of them is seriously, grotesquely deformed. The other kid has has like 666 carved on his forehead. Little girl has a cute little Norman Rockwell kind of dress, and if you look at the polka dots on the dress very closely, you can see that they're swastikas. And the mother and the father, the mother looks like a very cold Iron Maiden, red hair, and the father's kind of like a jellyfish spine, blockhead yellow. So somebody would look at that painting and go, well, what the hell is that? So, but for those who have a little bit of, have any kind of art sensibilities, would realize when it comes to an artist is selective in what he'll communicate. An artist or a painter is not a photographer. He just does not take a snapshot, whatever the camera happens to be aiming at. There is a reason why I'm selecting all of that stuff. And a friend of mine, Petra, who's on my Facebook, she got it right away. She looked at that and she saw, wow, all the neuroses and indoctrination that children are subject to in the culture. They're steeped into it. It begins with the family and then later reinforced by the culture at large. And those prejudices could be, and neuroses could be anything. They could be religious indoctrination, political indoctrination. It could be, I want to say something more universal, because I did select, Nazi swastikas, but it just not only speaks to of the Cold War, and it does not just speak of Europe, it speaks of North America, whatever the neurosis and indoctrination is.
Yeah, and I always wonder, it's kind of like, which one came first, the chicken or the egg, I mean, obviously there was somebody out there there's a lot of people who are just misguided, and that's why they search for other leaders or masters or whatever you want to call them. But I always wonder, like, as far as culture goes, which one came first? Is it the people at large creating that, or is it the individual family members, and then we can see that they're influenced by the culture at large? It's almost like a repetitive process, and all that we have to do, like what you're pointing out, is showing people, because I do see a lot of indoctrination. I have not seen that specific painting that you've done, Victor, but I can already tell if I would have looked at it, I would have seen something to that effect. Let me ask you one question now. Let's go a little bit deeper into your thought process here. First of all, I'm glad that you don't take every single painting and use it towards political goals. Not every single post on my Facebook wall is political either. We do have other things that we want to focus on in life too. We
Sure.
want to live our lives free and do what we want. I think you would agree with me that we kind of